3 minutes before midnight, my phone rang, and suddenly nothing in my life made sense. Who would call me now? The voice was calm, but the news was not. I had signed the divorce papers on Monday, but by Friday her face was on every news screen. I read the short message and I felt my knees fail. She had been sick. She hid it from me. How could she hide this truth? I thought I knew her body, her laugh, and her small marks on the hand. I thought I had time to fix things. Now the hotel lobby was full of people who wanted a story. The receptionist looked at me with pity. A reporter asked a question I could not answer. I touched the paper in my bag. My blood oath was written in ink and in my heart, but now it felt like a promise I could not keep. I felt betrayed and ashamed. What did I miss, and who kept the secret? I woke in a small suite at the resort. The city lights made lines on the curtains. I held the divorce papers like cold glass. The concierge had placed a bottle of water on the table. I read each line again. Her name sat on the top. I signed without emotion. My hands did not shake then. I remember the day she asked for space. She said, "I need quiet, Sophia." I thought it was about work. I believed her. I thought we had time to talk later. I believed the blood oath we made years ago. We had promised to care for each other. We had sworn in the old church. I broke my own rule. I told myself the oath was old paper. I told myself I could live without her. I left the suite and checked out in the morning. The receptionist asked, "Late checkout?" I said no. I put the papers in my bag and left the resort like a man with no home. At noon I saw a message from her sister. The words made my heart stop. "There is no hope," she wrote. I ran back to the lobby. The staff watched me. I called her number. It went to voicemail. I tried her mother. Then the news alert came. My life changed in one breath. At the funeral the crowd was big. People said she fought and she hid the pain. I stood at the back. I could not cry. I thought of the oath. I thought of the small ring I wore. I had promised to protect. I had signed the papers. I had made a choice. Now many faces looked at me with blame. Someone whispered, "Did she tell you?" My throat closed. I held the program and felt lost. The room smelled like coffee and lilies. Her friends told stories of small gifts she left for me. No one told me about the tests. My head spun. How long did she hide the truth from me? I ran outside and leaned on the low wall near the valet. A reporter called out my name. I froze. I had to know why. Then I found the note in her purse. It had my name and a promise. The words were simple. They moved like a knife. Who wrote this note? I turned the page and my world tilted. After the funeral I stayed at the same resort. I could not go to my flat. Every room felt empty. I spoke to her sister, Eleni, in the lobby near the concierge desk. She moved her hands and looked at the floor. She did not tell you, Eleni said. She wanted you to be happy. She said you were tired of fights. I asked why she hid the tests. I asked why she did not tell me the truth. Eleni said she did not want you to leave. She did not want to hurt you. My stomach dropped. The press waited outside. Someone called me a coward. A hotel guest whispered he signed the papers. I felt heat on my face. I had to answer the reporters. I gave short lines. I said the right words, but they sounded empty. At night I found a small key in the pocket of the jacket she left at my place. The key had a tiny engraving and a note. The note said, "Use the safe. Forgive me later." I went to the safe in the suite. Inside was a thick envelope. There were photos, test results, and a letter. My hand shook when I read the letter. She wrote about fear and pride. She wrote that she did not want pity. She wrote that she loved me and that she wanted me to be strong. I felt regret like a heavy coat. I thought of the blood oath we both swore. The letter said, "If I cannot tell you, then read this when you must know." I read about late nights at the hospital and quiet calls with a doctor. She kept a reservation at the same resort. She paid for a nearby room. She saw the doctor alone. She did not tell me because she thought I would leave. I kept reading. The tests had a date. The date was before I signed the papers. I had the name of the doctor in the letter. My hands reached for the phone. I called the number in the letter. The doctor answered, tired but kind. He said, "She asked me to tell you only if she died." My chest closed. I had 1,000 small scenes in my head. The blood oath we shared felt like glass in my hands. People in the lobby stared at me again. A woman I once loved had trusted me with the truth and I had refused to see it. Suddenly the hotel manager came and said someone wanted to speak with me in private. I walked into a quiet room with the concierge and a familiar face from her past. The man held a small file and looked at me with tired eyes. He said one name I did not expect. Was this the key to everything? The man in the small room was a former friend of hers. His suit was plain, like the concierge's, but his voice was raw. He put a folder on the table. Inside were more notes and a small stone. "She wanted you to know this first," he said. I opened a page. There were messages from her to me and from her to a doctor. She wrote, "Forgive me for lying. I hide this so you will not leave. I made a plan to tell you when you felt ready." I hit the table with my palm. I was both angry and full of shame. I remembered the blood oath. We had said, always. No matter the storm. I kept that oath in my wallet for years. Now here was a second oath in her letter. She had written a promise to me and to herself. She had asked me to keep our home and to take the small ring to the sea if I could not forgive. I wanted to break things. I wanted to shout. I wanted to buy every plane ticket and knock on the doctor's door. But the man said, "There is more." She left a voice file. He played the file on his phone. Her voice was soft. "Sophia," she said, "if you find this, know that I loved you. I did this because I feared losing you. I signed the papers to free you. I wanted you to choose me without pity." My vision blurred. I had thought the papers meant she wanted out. She had signed to spare me pain. She made the last choice for me. The lobby clock ticked. I saw the housekeeping woman carry a tray past the window. The world felt small. I had been blind with pride. I had been quick to leave. The man looked at me and said, "She took a blood oath with me, too. We promised to tell you if things got worse." I broke that oath to protect her secret. She asked me to hide things until the end. My chest tightened. He had kept the secret and he had broken his oath for love. I thought of all the small moments. The complimentary coffee she left on my desk. The reservations she paid for under different names. The little note in the safe. The hotel had seen them. The concierge had watched her leave late at night. Why did I not notice? The answer was simple and painful. I chose to step away. I chose the paper. I chose my pride. I signed the divorce in the quiet suite and then I stepped out into the cold. Now I had to find a way to keep her last wish. The man pushed a small piece of paper across the table. It had one word and an address. It was a reservation at the same resort for that night. My heart beat fast. I stood and left the room. The lobby was full of old faces. I walked past them and saw the ocean light through the doors. I had a choice now. Would I keep her secret and follow the last promise, or would I stand and speak my truth to the crowd? The valet called my name. I opened the envelope in my hand and read the final line. Then a light beep came from my phone. Who was calling me now? I took the reservation and sat at the seaside suite where she once watched the sunrise. The sky was pale. I put the small ring on the windowsill. I read the last letter again. Her words were simple: "Forgive me, live well." In the middle of the paper was the full reveal. She never wanted to hurt me. She signed the divorce not to leave, but to push me to choose her freely. She planned to tell me when I came back to her side. She hoped I would fight for her. Instead I left. The final twist hit like a wave. The man who broke the blood oath did it to save her from shame. He kept her secret so she could rest. In the second half of the night I learned the lesson I deny at first: love needs truth and time. Pride closes ears. Regret teaches hard lessons. I placed the ring into the sea from the balcony and watched it catch the moon. It felt like forgiveness. I made a small promise to live in a new way. I would tell the story to others. I would be honest when fear asked me to hide. Love asks for brave truth, not quick exits. In the end, her hidden care became my teacher. I still had the papers, but I also had her final wish. I kept it in my heart and let it change me.